know my name. Diamonds in my teeth, I got a lot of shine. Running up the number, that's a lot of crime. Try to take it from me, must be out your mind. Big time, lot of slime. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Pockets running over with the dollar sign. Try to take it from me. Yeah. Big time, big time, big time.
Welcome to episode 336 of Fourth and Jawn. This is Gail Saunders here with Evan Hollywood Hearn, Mr. Primo in the building, and Dan Skippy, aka Hollis Thomas, and we're talking the Super Bowl recap. I'm going to be honest; it's very tough to sit here and be excited about what we saw. It was really gut wrenching to be there at a watch party at the Hard Rock. Shout out to all you fans who showed up. But at the end of the day, it's you talk about a season full of great memories, high peaks and valleys. We didn't really see or feel the agony of defeat until the last game of the season. I think when you think about how many times we've just expected this team to win, we get an opportunity with a lead in the Super Bowl, and it was an epic collapse of Jonathan Gannon's defense, something we have spoke about over the years. Has been a topic on this show, but overall, I think Jalen Hurts, while he had a big fumble in this game, came back and had a brilliance, showed brilliance the whole game. I think you can't take that away from him. He had an MVP-like performance, but at the end of the day, our Eagles lost. And we could sit here and make excuses. I don't want to be a 49ers fan. I don't want to be a Cowboys fan making excuses for this football team. What happened, happened. It is what it is. We took the L. Congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs. We have to move on. There's going to be a lot of movement this offseason. We'll be talking about it through the off season, but I really just want to, I'm just at the end of the day, this Eagles is personal to me. Like this, like sometimes the Eagles hold me together. So it's more than just a game. It keeps me grounded sometimes when you're feeling certain ways. These Eagles hold you together, man, and I just want to appreciate this football team. They held me together all year. Whatever I was going through this season, they held me together. But I do want to thank this football team for great memories this season. I will hand it off to you, Ev.
Yeah, man, I'm in the same sort of somber mood as you. This whole game, this whole past week, to me, it put a lot of things in perspective. Mainly being time. Because this entire season was such a fun ride from the first week all the way up until the Super Bowl, and it really felt like it flew by. It felt like I kept on saying midway through the year, midway through the regular season, I said, slow down, cherish it. We don't get to see an Eagles team like this that often, and now, after everything is all said and done, here we are in the offseason. We got a long way to wait until we see this Eagles team again. And this Eagles team we see again next year could be a completely different squad. We've got a lot of hoops we got to jump through, whether it be contracts, free agency, the draft. I see Michael Thomas, fan of the Saints, can't even spell Michael correctly. It's A-E, not E-A. If you're a fan of that guy, I think you would know that. Thanks for the 10th overall pick. But I think that's pretty much been that pretty much sums up what has been the past couple days. I mean, there's been players taking shots. There's been fans taking shots. And to be honest with you, like, I get it, man. Me being one of them, I'm guilty of it. I was sitting here. I was riding high. I was talking shit. And at the end of the day, we're sitting here as losers, man. There's only one team that gets to hold up the trophy at the end of the year. I know, and we all know, as Eagles fans, that we are in a much better position than a lot of these teams' fans that are talking shit. We know that we're built to come back next year strong again. But at the end of the day, we don't have a trophy, man. We lost. And we got to take that one on the chin. We got to ride this out in the offseason and hope for the best next year, man.
You want to go, Tank?
So go ahead, Prime.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean, this is real tough. I mean, I'm pretty sure y'all can see it in my facial reaction. It hasn't really synced in as of yet. Little by little, it is, but not fully. This is tough. It's a tough one to go ahead and swallow, man. Like you guys mentioned, I mean, Sunday started off great with the Hard Rock party. We were having a great time, man. The vibe in there was great. The confidence level was superb, man. I mean, it looked like it was in our hands to go ahead and come out with the victory on this thing. But that second half was just a totally different ball game, man. And it was just tough to go ahead and see. Hey, look, man, the loss is the loss. You're right, Gil. I'm definitely not going to fall into the category of the 40 whiners, the Dallas Cowboys, the Giants. You know what I mean? I'm not. These guys are teaming up together this whole past few days, you know what I mean, just trying to get under a lot of our skins. And I mean, it's working towards other people, but I'm cool, man. Y'all can go ahead and talk all y'all want. At the end of the day, I'm very proud of my team. I'm happy for what they accomplished. Jalen Hurts stepped up big time this year. We were riding it out with him all the way through. It was a great season all around for us fans, this fan base, this organization. It definitely would have been the icing on the cake to go ahead and lift that Lombardi trophy up at the end of it all. But hey, listen, it is what it is, man. You know what I mean? I still feel like this future is bright with Jalen Hurts. And yeah, Evan, you're right. I mean, we are what somebody said in the comments, 72 days away from the draft and a longer time away from actually seeing this team go back to work. But it could be a totally different team. Right now, focusing on what decisions are going to be made is kind of hard. But hey, you got to prepare yourself for it. I know we got some news today about Gannon getting picked up by Arizona and Steichen going to the Colts. So congratulations to them too. What I truly want to say about Gannon, I'm going to go ahead and keep to myself. But I'm pretty sure Tank will go ahead and fill in the blanks on that one. Yeah, man, it sucks. It really does. But at the end of the day, with the four of us, it's always going to be fly Eagles fly, and we're going to keep repping this team to the day we die. So it's all good. We'll be back. Guaranteed, we'll be back.
Yep. First of all, fuck what everybody say. We was only one show in town, and we was part of it. Nobody else could make it. Nobody else could beat either team that was there. That's first and foremost. Secondly, if I was still playing, I would probably like to apologize to the fans for on behalf of the NFL and the officiating crew. From a fan's perspective, I feel like we were cheated out of watching an epic game finish out. That wasn't even personal bias. When you don't make that call all game long, and we could bitch, we don't have to bitch about the call, but when you don't make that call all game long and you choose to end the game like you did, you don't make that call on either side all day long, and then you choose to fuck everybody out of what it could have been, whether we won or lost. It could have been one of the most epic games ever. We'll still have to wonder how that game truly would have ended. Secondly, Jonathan Gannon, he kind of screwed the pooch. He didn't make any adjustments, and the part of him reared his ugly head. It was one of the most heartbreaking things I've seen. I feel bad for the team, the fans that was there. I got to go. I had a great time all the way up until that point, but then as I was walking back to the bus, I was thinking to myself, this is why everybody always has those conspiracy theories, because they get you because you see all of the pageantry and the commissioner who's supposed to be unbiased. He's just supposed to hand the trophy off and get the fuck off the field. He's hugging and slapping hands with the winning team. But I didn't like that. I don't like him. I never liked him as a commissioner because I felt like he's a bit of a front runner and an ass kisser. The one thing that I will say is it's still win, lose, or draw. It's still go motherfucking birds. We have nothing to hang our heads at. We have a young nucleus. that they're going to put some other pieces around, and we will be back. I don't know if you noticed, even as heartbroken as you are, our quarterback put together one of the most phenomenal games known to man.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just we came up short. There's no other way around it. I'm not gonna sit here and bash the other team. Only person that I really don't like is Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah, screw that bum.
Yeah, because it was
TikTok boy.
I know the one thing that I was like, you're bragging off of a penalty. You're bragging off of a penalty that hadn't been called all game. But and then the other stuff all the other officiating errors in which we endured, and which some of the likes that I don't think a single person on this panel or watching this program has ever fucking seen. When we were leading on that drive, on that backbreaking drive, that would have been a backbreaking drive had we got to 7. But it's like we can't do nothing. The one thing that I will say is it was a fantastic ride the entire season. Most people have been done since beginning of January. Dude, it's the middle of February and we're still talking about football because our team brought us to this point.
Exactly, and that's a great point. And when you start to just flesh it out and look at the rest of the league, I look at guys like Josh Allen, where this guy just gets pumped up every single year about how good he is. Josh Allen's the next great, and I think Josh Allen is a great quarterback. But let's be real, man hasn't been to the Super Bowl. Jalen got there, man. Jalen has what it takes to get there. And so, I see a lot of people talking shit on Jalen. I think that there's people that are just trying to get underneath the Eagles fans' skin while they're down. That's all that's really going on. To have any sort of gripe with what Jalen did on that field in this game, I mean, dude, that fumble sucked. But at the end of the day, Jalen doesn't make those mistakes. The fluke things happen. And aside from that one single solitary play, the man was lights out. He was dropping dimes, man, all day long.
And that play for you guys who wasn't in the stadium, he pulled his face mask got yanked down.
I've seen pictures. I've seen pictures. Yeah.
We were yelling at it from the stands, but it was we could blame it on officials a little bit, but I felt like we had the game in hand. I feel like defensively we didn't go in and make the proper adjustments that
100%.
That I felt like we needed to make, and we it was up to us not to let the officials take control of this game. Now forever, whoever the official was that made that call, he'll go down as the ender of the game. And then once again, officials are seen and heard in this game instead of just seen.
I agree with you, Tank, that call sucked. I think it was the wrong call at that moment, but I can't place blame on the refs when we had that second half performance by our defense.
No. But see, it would be different if that was the way. See, this is the other part too. I'm going to explain to everybody, because as a player, when you first go out, you get the barometer of how they're calling the game, and that's how you get.
It's like an umpire at home plate with pitches.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you that get, and if you must know, that was the only time that was called. It could have been called about 10 or 12 other times. On both teams. They so everybody.
No, I mean, okay, they play with Bradbury, the same kind of play that they didn't call early in the game.
Yeah, and it was one play. It was one play that I thought, until they showed the replay, I thought Quiz had just totally missed the ball. Unbeknownst to me, the DB was bucking on his back before the ball even got there. So to me, it's the point where he called it. That's what brings up all the conspiracy theories. Because what the fuck? It's a minute and 40 some seconds left. They're going to kick a field goal. It could be the game-winning field goal, or we could watch an epic comeback and a tie up, or possibly overtime, or we can score a touchdown. But you just decided it for everybody.
Yeah, no, I mean,
let's talk about the topic on everyone's mind is the collapse of Jonathan Gannon's defense. Now, if you go back and look at the motion plays, which is a play that was run by our old favorite Dougie Peterson I wouldn't be surprised if Dougie called Andy's like, "Yo, I got something for you, bro." But at the end of the day, the communication or lack of it put this defense in a bind. In the point where you score 3 touchdowns in these same situations, it really put this defense in a bind. And you're at the end of the day, like, what were you preparing for, Jonathan Gannon? Like these are things that they looked ill prepared. I mean, we're talking about guys that are wide open. And again, Andy Reid is Andy Reid, and we talked about earlier a couple weeks ago about our coordinators being, lack of experience. Well, this lack of experience showed up on the biggest stage. So this is and Jonathan again is out today, so it's almost like a win-win.
I want to ask Tank from like a defensive lineman's perspective too, because we went into this game, and my thought process was we have to dominate in the trenches.
Right.
This defensive line, we were record setting this year.
Yep.
We have a rotation of 8-9 guys.
Yeah.
Why weren't we able to penetrate?
Do you remember when we were talking? What I was telling you about? If you're going to play coverage, you need to cut up the run. When you don't have enough guys up front, you cut up the run. So because you don't have enough guys up front to cover all the gaps, and if you don't cut up the run, what happened to us on this past Sunday happens. They're able to run. They ran this one trap every fucking time. And the number 10 didn't hit to touch nobody to the secondary. Yeah. The trap, when you say a trap consists of one double team, a pulling of a guard, and since you have ends outside already, all this is a turnout block for the offensive tackle, and you got another guy coming up inside to hit your linebacker. The next thing you know, he's damn near at the safety. We didn't do anything to cut up the run. We didn't run any of the stunts. We didn't put any of our guys in a single team the entire game. It was, and everybody was talking about the slipping. Fuck the slipping. You didn't even put the guys in the optimal chance to win. It was nothing he did in the other two games he brought to this game. He reverted back to doing what I hate. And it's like, if you're trying to play coverage, you scared, say you scared. We did not put any pressure on this quarterback the entire time. No. And then we thinking that he's not gonna run. He pulls the motherfucker down and run. I'm like, come on, man. But the one thing when you don't have an aggressive game plan together, it shows. And it's like when you're a passive aggressive guy talking about bend but don't break, this is what happens. This is the same way our fucking season ended last year versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady and Byron Leftwich were on the sideline saying they don't change. They'll be right where they start or at the beginning of the snap, at the end of the snap. And we got our ass kicked in that game.
Yeah,
if we didn't have the personnel that we have right now, they probably would have scored fucking 60 on us. If we didn't have the personnel, that's why I kept saying our personnel was helping him out. Because the personnel has pride and they can make plays. But if you're hamstrung and you don't have anybody with any creativity, because it's kind of like this. It's like you go through the rigmarole and you're facing somebody who's equally as good as you all the time, but the person on the other side is doing creative stuff and things to get them on the edge. We were outflanked so much. If you look at the motion plays, we were trying to stop something, but we were continually outflanked. So on that side of the ball, we got totally outcoached once again to the end of our season. So if you go back and look at the film, because I got to play it again, and go back and look at some of the film from the Giants game and the 49ers game, you don't have to blitz. All you had to do was line up 5 guys up front, and one of our guys up front will always win a one-on-one. And we just didn't do that. We didn't. It's like he was playing scared the whole time. The whole time he played scared the whole time. He played not to lose, and when you play not to lose, you end up losing. It's kind of like the they used to call it the Bill Belichick factor, where if you get a big lead on them, you kind of play not to lose, so you kind of make concessions. You got guys drop back all deep. That he played that way the entire time, and like at a certain point when you could tell once the guys start getting tired, because the guys our defense start getting tired, because you're not moving around, you're not giving them. Sometimes the best thing is giving the guys freedom to run around without hitting somebody and knocking the crap out of somebody. But if the other team is laying on them and constantly laying on them, it's at the end of the game, we're gonna be tired, and they're gonna do what they did like in the second half. Yeah, they came out and we didn't make any adjustments. And I got this information from one of the horses' mouths down in Jacksonville. It was like that. It was like his defense was so vulnerable to that jet sweep that they were so worried about the jet sweep and not anything else. They just used the motion to fuck over them. It's just like, and then when I seen it, it looked like the Keystone Cops, man. Yeah. It's like deep, but to put a bow on that part, I still feel like the NFL owes all the fans, owe us a refund or something, some type of explanation, because that game still had a minute and a half left of playing time. So Go ahead.
Yeah, let's talk about the slippery field conditions. I mean, at the end of the day, like, both teams had to play on these conditions, right? But at the end of the day, this is the biggest game of the season. This is the
I saw a
biggest game of the year, and the fact that you have players, once you go back and rewatch it, like as painful as it is, I had started having like a slip counter. I'm like, all right, one right there, one right there, one right there. All the big plays that happened, there was a lot of. I seen TJ Edwards slip in the middle. I seen our defensive ends synchronized slipping at the same time.
You started seeing that by the second drive. You started seeing that, and me and you we were watching the game right next to each other. I mean, you realized something wasn't right when that field on that field. These guys were just all over the place, and I know a lot of people are saying, yeah, both teams played on the same field. I get that, and I respect that, but understand. I'm still going to stick to what I said to a lot of people. Kansas City wasn't a threat like the way our defensive line was. Our defensive line, they had more power to go ahead and get to that quarterback than the Kansas City Chiefs defensive line could have. So, I mean, right now, the advantage of that field being in the condition that it was, it definitely wasn't to our advantage. I mean, like you said, you had Reddick and you had Sweat both sliding at the same time. Like, it was crazy. They were both on their asses when usually those two are meeting each other in the middle to go ahead and get that quarterback or causing for somebody else to go ahead and fill in that gap. But that wasn't the case, man. So it was just like something wasn't right. And we were seeing that in the very beginning, and throughout the game, it just started getting worse and worse.
The funny thing is that as you guys are talking about slipping, I'm watching guys slip right now. The one thing I will say about the slipping is as a player, you know to switch shoes up. The one thing that I do know that happened is when they was moving all that stage crap on and off the field, it messed up the field sometimes. But you truly have to find the proper shoes to be on that surface. And I don't take the slipping. I don't give a damn about the slipping. I was like, we weren't put in the optimal position defensively. Like the slipping, if you don't have enough guys up front to get there, like we often see the guys coming off the edge. But if you saw what they were doing, they was double teaming the other guys, and we couldn't get nothing. We couldn't get nothing going. 5 on 4 or 6 on 5 when they all pros. The 6 on 4 rather. They're gonna the 6 gonna win every time. If you don't, and we didn't put no pressure on them. It's just I felt like we was out of position pretty much most of the game defensively. It just was all bad.
The question I also got is, what is it with the NFL having to decorate these fields the way they've been decorating them lately? Like, what was the purpose of having 2 Super Bowl 57 logos, one on each side of the NFL?
And those motherfuckers are slippery.
I don't get it.
Those are slippery.
What is that? Like, what is that for? Like, you could go ahead and decorate that stadium anyway, anyhow, all you want, but just leave the field alone, man. These guys are playing on that field. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. You tell me, Tank. Like, doesn't that shit make a difference when you got all those, spray paint? I don't know.
Yeah, it does make a difference. Those logos are actually slippery as fuck. Even when it's just a regular logo from the team that you play on or that you're playing against. I try to stay away from them as much as I can. But if the ball is right there, you got to watch your footing. It's pretty bad. Now it's all that advertisement stuff. It's like people are paying millions of dollars per commercial, but it's like a greedy cash cow that keeps on getting fed. I don't do it. It's like once as the game started playing, and everything, we had it was some good times and some good moments, some great moments of the game. But then as you saw them come out in that second half, and you saw that our defense came up mega flat, it's like
So now that we have the entire season underneath of our belts, let's go back to this year's draft. I mean, what do you guys think about how these rookies contributed to this team this year?
I think there's one thing it did cross my mind at some point in after the game. I was just like, because I was just thinking in my head, like, if we like, just putting it out there, because I remember you specifically wanting Kyle Hamilton on the back end, and you're talking about like Kyle Hamilton in space versus a Travis Kelce. Would it be like different? But again, I'm thinking in my head of of first rounders being on the field, the starters. Obviously, we were in a weird situation where we had so much talent that you had these guys as depth pieces. But it is interesting. Jordan Davis, he's going to have to get his game together, and obviously one of these guys ahead of him will not be there. We have 17 free agents on this team. Obviously, they're going to have to do because they're thinking about this season and bringing the guys in that we brought in and drafting some of the guys that made sense and whatever. He had the perfect puzzle. This team had depth, had solid playmakers. You got guys in the incubator system, but you're gonna have. Can you repeat that? And I do trust Howie will make the right moves. Hopefully, this place it becomes a destination place. But this is a lot of work to be had, and you just lost 2 coordinators, so a lot of work has to be done this offseason.
That's to be honest with you, that's the one thing that I fear in the back of my head is that
the coordinator.
No, not have anything to do with the coordinators. The fact
that
talking
about the losing
this
people?
is just based off of rookie contracts, based off of Jalen is still on his rookie deal right now. That's one thing I do fear is that this may be the best Eagles team we're able to put together in this stretch, man. Like this might have been the year.
Well, to help you out, they did raise the cap $22 million to be exact.
That applies for everybody. That's not
just
us.
But let me finish. We were $40 million under the cap. That's good too. And you know that Howie's a cap magician. On the draft part, I'm always on the draft part. I think of it like this. I'm always gonna have my wish list of people that I would like to see here. But when they bring somebody in, what we have to take into account is they've checked them out and they're trying to get to what fits what we do. And a lot of because I didn't realize this until like this weekend. I was talking to Albert Hainsworth, and I asked him. I said, "What the fuck happened when you went to Washington?" And so he was like, "I went from being in a system to where I could pretty much do what I wanted to do. I had 2 wide nines and another guy there, and I could just disrupt the middle to trying to play some type of cockamamie 3-4 scheme." Mm-hmm. He's like, that's not where I cut my teeth. And I never looked at it like that. When somebody gets all their money and goes somewhere else, you got to get somebody that fits your scheme, not your scheme. A lot of people always talk about a good person and a locker room guy, but you have to go after people who actually fit what the fuck you're doing. Because if not, that's why you get all those really bad signings. And when he told me that, I was like, wow, I always just thought you were a bum. But when you go back to because when you go back to when he was at Tennessee, he was a fucking monster. Yeah. But the wide nine and what they were doing in Washington was totally different. And I understood, and that's why the one thing that I do trust what we currently got in the front office and stuff is them to bring in guys that fit with what we're doing. Now this may be one of the best processes we've seen in Eagles history so far. I'm pretty sure that they're going to try to do something better and get better.
I see comments in here about a blueprint. Let me tell you something right now. The blueprint's been set on how this defense can come together and be dominant. So I agree. I feel like this is going to be a landing spot for quite a bit of players out there that are going to want to come here because they see how this system is being ran.
But it's also a takeoff destination because there's players here that earned their money and now are leaving. Yeah. Like James Bradbury. What I was going to say is, but you want that because when they get here, what do they have to do? They have to play their best. Mm-hmm. So if you got a young nucleus and you just add people who are looking to get paid, like I call them mercenaries. Now that's exactly what it is. That's what Bradbury, to be honest with you, felt like all year. Like, I feel like he kind of just like laid low, didn't really say anything, did his job, made all pro. But at the end of the day, he's looking for that paper, man. I don't blame him. I mean, he's on a rookie deal.
Yeah. Hey, it's business. It's business.
It is definitely business.
Get your money, bro.
Now, I was asked would I like Lovie Smith as a defensive coordinator here.
What's your thoughts?
That would be awesome. I love Lovie Smith.
Hey man,
it's certain defense coordinators that it's like nowadays. And me and Seth had a Q&A when we were down there in Sedona. Shout out to Philly Sports Trips, great trip. There's a lot of people probably in the room from the trip. What's up, y'all? I am the airplane police, but that's a whole other story. But Seth and Wilbur Montgomery said something that a lot of these young coaches that you don't really see, and it was mostly from Wilbur because he's been on a bunch of different coaching staffs. A lot of the coaches now, they just give you the playbook. They don't go over what the technique and stuff that they want you to use and be a teacher. It's like it's like, and I was looking at that because when you look at a lot of the stuff, you don't see the teacher. You don't like when our DBs look like Keystone Cops back then. I had never seen that shit before because we were always taught to communicate. It's like like especially that's why a lot of when I went to different teams, they was asking me why was I so boisterous and loud about everything. I was like, well, because I was like, we all need to be on the same page. And that's what Jim Johnson taught us is like, if we're gonna be wrong, we all gonna be wrong. We're gonna be wrong on the same shit. It's like because when you don't use that communication, you see what we saw. But that's why I wanted somebody who's a teacher in here. And all those angles all those bad tackling angles. And have you ever heard the phrase "turn it back to the Sharks"? So that's a phrase that Jim Johnson uses where you see a guy coming up, and sometimes you see him trying to play the piano. He's supposed to hit the outside and turn it back to the inside because the Sharks, as the rest of your defense, is supposed to be coming to eat because there's blood in the water. I was like, I haven't seen that. Every time I hate when we get out there because we get outflanked. But we need somebody here that's going to teach good, hard tag defense. That's because we got the guys to attack.
Speaking of teaching, here's a learning moment for Blues in 207. Every team has the same salary cap, and just because you buy unlicensed gear or non-licensed gear, or Jeff Lurie raises the parking price every year, that doesn't add more money to our cap. So the teams are worth the same amount of money.
Hey, put that back up there, Ev. And it's like that. Yeah, they have a salary cap, but do you realize? Do you know why they're still the preseason games? Because they don't pay nobody. They don't pay the team's salary during those games. Each player gets like $1,200 each week. You don't get salaries, so it's none of them $100. They have enough money and they split up TV revenue. So fuck them. If you can find something that's quality, get it.
Talking about quality, wide receiver three. Wide receiver 3 is something where we are looking to upgrade. We're talking about if you go back and watch all the great performances by AJ, Devontae, look at their hands. I play wide receiver. I mean, you're at the catch point is really what separates a lot of these wide receivers. Are you strong at the catch point? Do you throw up the dime when you have to? Do you turn your hands this way? You turn your hands this way? Do you run and then shoot late hands at the very last minute, or do you alligator arm it?
Do you dive?
But there's a point in time when, as you know, we've seen Quez make some unbelievable plays over the last couple of years. I don't know whether it's a confidence thing or he lost some of his confidence along the way. You saw him at the catch point versus Dallas. You saw him get muscled out of some plays here for interceptions. You saw him fumble the ball versus Washington. I don't know what it is with confidence or what, because I know that happens. But if you go back and look at that play, which was a pivotal play, if he just runs through it.
Check the picture I just sent y'all before y'all start getting on this young man. Check the picture I sent you before you start getting on.
Hey man, I'm just saying.
Check the picture before you start getting on this young man.
Nah, man.
That's long before the ball gets there.
He said it himself. Quest said it himself.
I mean,
he said
even after that picture, my point remains the same: is that I know what Quez Watkins is, and Quez Watkins is a speed demon. But if Quez Watkins needs to fight for the ball, he's not going to get it. That's the bottom line. Quez Watkins, if he's got a few yards on the DB that he's burnt, yeah, he'll catch it and he'll run in the end zone. And if there's any sort of contest that's going on, Quez doesn't have the strength to overcome.
And that's just the thing, man. And this is gonna be my last take because I'm gonna roll out of here because I'm gonna go celebrate Valentine's Day with my wife. But on behalf of that,
bragger.
My bad. Sorry. I mean, step up your game, buddy.
No, he's not fixing.
You bring a good point because that's just what they knew. They knew that he had a fight to go ahead and get that catch. So if they're battling him, he's not going to win. So that was the advantage they had on him. They knew they could go ahead and definitely be more physical with him, and he wasn't going to win that battle. So, I mean, regardless of whatever picture you sent, Tank, I'm sorry. I mean, the guy's got to go ahead and beast out of that and go ahead and be more
AJ would have
aggressive.
caught that.
Exactly, AJ, and look at Devontae, bro. I love this kid. Yo, Gail, you remember I literally got on the chair. All right, and shout out to my brother because he was there with me watching this game. But I literally got on the chair and started yelling at him across the room. That's that guy you fucking hate. And look how he's playing. That boy was playing some professional shit right there. Like, he was on fire. And I was even getting ready to call MVP. Like, if it wasn't going to be Jalen, it was going to be him the way he started playing. He was lights out. He was built.
Inspired.
He was built for that spotlight, man. And yes, it was very inspiring. It's just a shame. But, Quez, like, look, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen to him. I don't know if he's going to even have a future here with us.
He's still on a rookie contract. Everybody,
that's fine. But I agree with some of the comments here. I think we do have to go and pursue a third wide receiver. We got to go a step up on him. We really do. So we'll see. But look, man. Look, we're going to take this L. We're going to learn from it. I'm glad that Jalen has this one under his belt. Okay, I really do. Because last year, he got a playoff game under his belt. And this year he came and he did better. So, now having this Super Bowl under his belt, now I'm telling you, I'm going to go ahead and that's going to be my momentum this offseason. Run it back. Because that's what the fuck we're going to do. We're going to run it back. We'll be back. Mark my words, we will be back. All right. But look, peace out, brothers. I'll get up with y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and
hey, don't go make any more babies now.
No, sir. Okay. Kitchen's closed. Closed. All right. Have a good night. All right, bro.
The Quez Watkins drop. I was pissed at him initially. I was pissed at him when it first happened, and then I saw how early that dude grabbed. I sent you the picture mainly because that's how much defensive holding was not called throughout the entire fucking game. And it's like I do fault him for I fault us for putting him in that position, knowing that he's a run to get the ball type guy, than not a guy who's going to catch anything that's contested. And we're saying that yes, we do have to upgrade that third wide receiver position. And somebody already said it. What's his name? Greg Ward probably would have caught that because Greg Ward's a little bit stronger. It's like, but we need. That's the one thing I feel like we need. It's a couple of things we need to address. Special teams that gave up the punt return. This is why we could be heartbroken, but we cannot know that it was time for us to put that game away without having the officials be in charge of it. It's like because this is what how the narrative goes, how the conspiracy things come about. It's like, but they don't help the thing. They don't help the conspiracy stuff either because these motherfuckers the last drive of the game is when your first holding call is made. Your first defensive holding call. And it's tough to swallow because as a fan you're watching the game and unless it was just like totally egregious, you don't even make that call. And then that's what sometimes you have those epiphanies where you hear the commentator and you're like, oh, what the fuck does he mean? You don't make a call in that situation. It's like it's like don't put him in that position. But it resonated to me about when I go through my process of going through the game. When I start playing the game, I knock the shit out of the guy, hold him as much as I possibly can, and see what he say. Hey, 78. Hey, I see you can't be holding him like that. Ease up. So it's like once you get that for the officials, that's when you get into your true groove and rhythm. I was like, and I felt like they did our guys wrong, a little wrong, but I wish we wasn't in that predicament to do that. But we can say the ref thing didn't really matter, but in a situation like this is the Super fucking Bowl. Both teams are fucking good and great. You saw that there were hardly any penalties called, and you called that. If you look around the league, or if you look across your timeline on Twitter, you can go from LeBron James, you can go from any NFL analyst to call that call during that situation. I saw Richard Sherman going ham on his podcast. Yeah. It was definitely, the ball was, far away from him. It wasn't even like he could have called it anyway. And it was, again, if he's going off of how they're playing the whole game, he knows the vibe of what he can get away with, what he's gonna, right. Like you said, the ref will say, hey, usually they'll warn you like, hey, I'm gonna give you this one. Not even about the one the thing is they were letting both teams play like this.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that pisses me off when it still resonates to me when when my boy Troy hopped on TV talking about you trust the judgment of these guys. And somebody was trying to make the correlation of the situation with the Bengals last week. I was like, no, they've been protecting the quarterback all year long. You know, if you breathe on the quarterback wrong, they're going to throw the penalty. This was a minute and something left, third down. You've been letting them go the entire game. You've been letting them play the entire game, and you want to change. You want to change the narrative of everything. That's why I apologize to the fans and everybody, because we should have got to see an epic finish. And it was like, whether we won or lost, we would have got to see got to see our guy have a chance to come back against one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He's fucking MVP. I didn't think he was coming back out the second half. When he came back out the second half, I was like, oh shit. The way he came out too.
It was weird because people were watching the game, they see Mahomes get hurt, and it was because I seen a lot of Eagle fans, like people were just like kind of celebrating the fact that like, hey, we knocked out another quarterback. This could be the opening for a smooth sailing victory. It was weird because it was like, like you're trying to win a Super Bowl. At this point, it's like, you're not wishing ill will on the dude, but like again, quarterbacks get knocked out of the game. But what do you think was the biggest momentum shifter during the Super Bowl?
To me, you tell me if you thought the same thing. When they came back out on their first drive, when they just marched downfield for 10 plays, without even a hint of resistance, that was the momentum shifter. It was like, because if you saw the way they were operating like it was the beginning of the game, and they were going through their first 14 to 15 plays, and our defense didn't seem like there was nothing in their cell. But the one thing that gave me an air of hope was the way our offense came right back out and answered. As I saw and answered, it was only with a field goal, should have been a touchdown. That to me, that gave me an inkling of hope, like this is going down to the wire. The last people with the ball are going to win this. I was like, but you tell me, is that what you thought the momentum shift had?
No, that's the exact moment for me as well, man, because I saw, obviously we go into halftime, and to just build off of what Gail was just saying, I went out front. I was hanging out in the smoking section with some friends, and we were I was talking about how shaky Mahomes' ankle was looking. He was obviously distraught going in the locker room, but obviously he's going to get shot up with some Toradol in the locker room. Like, that's going to happen. And to be honest with you, like, kudos to him for toughing it out. I mean, that takes a strong quarterback to play on an injury like that. And but I agree with you. When we came back out there, and I was expecting the opposite. I was expecting the Eagles defense to pounce on him. And really just start to put this game away. But when I saw them move down the field without resistance, I had a bad feeling, man. I started to get a bad feeling about what was to come.
There's moments in that game where we're down, right? And I'm like, I felt the shift, and then this team, or even you can even say after the fumble, where that was the first shift of like, oh, okay. But Jalen came back, like the first play of that drive after the fumble, man broke off a run. He got them back in position. So it's 24-14. You go into the second half, but like when they went down a score, like when you're in a room full of like 200 people. You catch a vibe and you're in the back. You can see everybody collectively, asses are tight. I actually saw at one point. I was like, I think Ev's, your parents were getting up ready. I was like, come on now, let's stick. Everyone stick together. We could do this. And we scored a touchdown. We scored a touchdown, and we got back into the game. You know what I'm saying? So that was crazy.
The funniest shit was when you said what you said. That's how the stadium felt, and I'm looking around. I was like, look, hey, I was like, it's still 9 minutes and 10 seconds. What the fuck are y'all doing? I'm looking around. I was like, motherfucking game ain't over. And then I was trying to hold my piss. I had to pee. The bathroom was way too far away. So as I had the game playing on my phone when I was going to pee. So I go to pee, go to take a whiz, and all of a sudden we score. I'm like, shit. I can't go back to my seat because we scored while I was away from my seat.
Yeah,
And then we got 2-point conversion. I was like, yeah. So I was like, I stood up there and I watched the most of it on the walk back to the bus and on the big jumbotron. I was like, but I was like, this is the one thing that I would tell you. You guys probably let me know how you feel about this. When I got this, we have Jalen at quarterback and we have our offensive line. He showed me back when we played Indianapolis, and he just put the team on his back. When we're just down to score like that, and there's that much time left, I have confidence in this kid. He makes all the proper decisions and stuff, and he puts us in a great position to win. And it's kind of like when you playing with somebody, and when you're on the same team as somebody, just give him an opportunity to bring you back, and he will. Yeah. And that's how I felt. That's how I felt with him. I was like, when everybody, I was sitting there, and everybody, like you said, the sail was let out of the fucking stadium too. Yeah. Felt like somebody was just like, I was like, there's 9 minutes left.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the 2-point conversion too, because I think that was a testament. That play in itself was a testament of who Jalen Hurts is as a quarterback, man. I mean, I've seen that in the Minnesota game in week 2. Mm-hmm. That dude fought like hell to get to the end zone, and I saw this one still where there was like 3 guys on him, and he's still 2 yards
in
short.
The way.
Yeah, and then like he scored on that play.
Yeah.
Jalen left it all out on the field, man. Yeah. And also, I just before we move on from the whole topic of Mahomes' ankle as well, I'm seeing this conversation going on a lot too, talking about how he was faking it, all this stuff. Regardless of whether or not you think he was faking it, dude, this is the Super Bowl, and you use any strategy you can to try and get the upper hand. I mean, I remember earlier this year, Devontae Smith kind of coming up a little bit gimpy after a play, and then they went right back to him because he made the quarterback think that he was injured. That's all part of strategy. And
now the part that you talk about in that 2-point conversion, you can see it was like 3 Chiefs right there. And when they replayed the slow motion, it showed you the determination that kid has to want to win. And I was like, damn. Because it was like, it looked like I was like, we didn't, damn. We're not going to, oh, damn. It was just, and it was pure.
That man squats 600 pounds on display right there.
On display.
Yeah, now they're talking about banning that QB sneak just because of how many times Jalen Hurts has showed you, what strong hamstrings look like.
You know what they need to ban? Goofy ass officials. That's what they need to ban.
I mean, at this point in time, with the amount of cameras that are following everybody at every damn day and every damn moment of every single second of the day, you could manage this game from above. You got cameras flying around here. You can call what you need to call. And first of all, I think the league should be ready to go with overturning call in their earpiece. Like, pick that flag up. Like
now, I was gonna say, that we was talking about that, I think we talked about this before we came on, and I don't think any of us have ever been a part of this kind of let's call it what it was, shit that happens when we caught the ball, we come down, we line up on the ball, and then in mid play they stop the play. They say that they didn't give the Chiefs an opportunity to sub when we subbed. I was like, but you let us snap the ball. You spotted the ball. But then when they finally let them get a chance to sub, they challenged the catch on the play. I've never seen that shit before.
The funny thing I read before, this is pre Super Bowl during the week. I came across an article about like the refs that were reffing the Eagles game, and it was definitely in favor of the Chiefs, and they showed their record with these refs, and they're kind of, and I was just like, and some dude was like, too bad, Eagle fans. It's like, you're catching an L with this one. And I'm like, in the back of my head, I was like, yeah, I didn't really want to read that. And then during the game is happening, as we're progressing, you go back to that Devontae Smith catch, which I thought it looked like a catch to me. He had control of it. I mean, if you go back and watch the Corey Clement, the Corey Clement, like you can still bobble, and if you have control, I mean, the dude, at the end of the day, it's that I thought that play changed the trajectory of the game a little bit.
I got to be honest with you guys, and I want to know just from the perspective of the comment section as well. But you guys keep on saying, if you go back and watch, be completely honest with you, after watching that game live, dude, I've avoided all videos of that game. I have avoided the rewatch of that. I can't do it right now, bro. I'm struggling 50 minutes into this podcast.
I know. I see you slightly blubbering. I didn't want to say nothing, but I understand your pain, man, because that was it was I was real pissed at the deployment of our defense.
I don't know how you do it. I have no desire to watch that game again.
Well, I got it on now. This is like my fourth time watching it. Because when I talk shit, I like to be right. And it's like
I'm not in any position to be talking shit right now, though. I did that all prior to the game, and now I got egg on my face.
You really don't. You want to know why? And this is what a Hall of Fame MVP said. He said, "I only won one Super Bowl, and I lost two." It's like for the people who weren't in the Super Bowl, who are trying to talk shit about you. He's like, you came second best to a world champion by minuscule points. That means you're part of the best of the best. I was like, and as much as it hurts you right now, anybody that's talking to you that wasn't on the Chiefs side, anybody that's saying shit to you, they don't have shit to say.
Oh, I agree.
Everybody who asked, we have already kicked. Go fuck yourself. You can't. You're not the thing. That's why nobody argues with me. I was like, where were you at? Where were you at Sunday? Where was your team at? The fuck out of my face. I'm not gonna argue with no overrated loser. The fuck out of here.
I'm not doing that either. All my friends that were trying to chime in and hit me up. You want to talk about? No, I'm not. I really don't want to talk about the game with you.
That was the other thing too. Is that like we left that game, and I was there with my family, and I was thankful to be able to do that because usually championships and stuff like that, I'm not with my family now that I'm living on my own and everything. But then I went through that whole night, and then I was just down with some friends afterwards that I hadn't spent, and they wanted to sit there and talk about the game. Like I'm not getting it. I don't feel like talking about this shit.
Well, that part I can understand. It's like because we was on the trip, we were going back to the hotel, and you can hear a pin drop. Besides the people that got overly intoxicated, you can hear a pin drop on the bus because it let the wind out of our sail, and that's why I felt like the NFL and the officiating crew owed everybody at least an apology because, and I think the heartbreak is more so of the way it ended, and it's heartbreak. It's like you didn't even. It's like last year when they were bitching and moaning about, oh, Josh Allen didn't get a chance. The fuck out of here. Their team was on the field. We got totally fucking holes, and I don't give a fuck who say what. I was like, if we could have won in some other areas, but that doesn't give the official the right to start doing bullshit at the end of the game to decide the game. This is total and utter bullshit, and they keep on making concessions for these motherfuckers.
You sound like Mike Barkan on that one.
Yeah,
it's bullshit.
This is bullshit. I'll be in my car.
Yeah, that was great.
But when you've been watching, when you sit back and you watch a game of this was like one of the greatest. This could have been. It was like watching it. It was one of the greatest games, back and forth, a heavyweight fight, and you let a fucking guy in stripes that's been silent the whole game decide the game, and then you got the punk ass commissioner coming down there hugging motherfuckers. I don't care how you hit the quarterback. The fuck out of here. Cockeyed bastards, I hate him.
I mean, you look at too, just everything that led up to it. The two number one seeds, they had the exact amount of points scored going into the game, the same exact record, same amount of all-pro players on the team, and then you end with a 38-35. Like this was the best matchup of the year in the NFL, and it happened to happen in the Super Bowl, which is
I actually wrote that down. It was number one seeds, both 16-3, both scored 546 points. They had 6 all-pros selections on both sides, and they each had one Kelsey.
And I know that, but can we all at least acknowledge something as well, too? Like, dude, let's look at the damage points-wise we did in the postseason. 38, 31, 35.
Yeah,
we put points on the board, man. Yeah. It was the defense that let us down, and
and my prediction going into the Super Bowl was 33-21. I thought we could hit the 30 above the 30 mark. We hit 33. We got 35. You think
35 and we lost?
You think you catch an L?
Damn.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And the fucked up part is, I thought that John DeGannon was going to go and then especially when I heard that that he was one of the last two finalists for Arizona job. I feel like he was going to come down there and put these motherfuckers on notice. There I go. You can't, when the motherfucker shows you their stripes, you just got to go with it. And I told you every time that I gave him credit for doing shit, he goes back and reverts back to this. I was like, and this was a part that I know Eric Bieniemy, who's probably going to get passed over as a head coach.
Already has.
Yeah. So he's the one who did the research and went back and looked at the film and how we adjust to the motion. And then I was like, dude, you can't be that predictable as a defense. And you can't. It's like in the first time when they did the motion, they was just doing it to see if they would do the exact same. But they would see it if they would do the exact same thing like they did on film. It's like, oh, this is a stupid bastard.
Yeah, man. Andy Reid coming off a bye and his record, but Andy Reid coming off 2 weeks to prepare, like you knew wrinkles were coming. And they definitely brought the wrinkles. But Jason, he says, I probably will rewatch, but going to wait a while. Even then, I'll probably only watch the first half. This comment right here, I was up till probably, I say, this craziest thing is I fell asleep, woke up at 1 a.m. I fell asleep watching it, taking notes. Then I woke up at 4 a.m. in the morning, continue with my notes. And then I got to the half. I was like, Gail, do not do it to yourself. You want to hear it? You want me to read a couple of my notes here? Let's see. Chiefs first drive isolated Epps after motion from Kelsey. Helped Kelsey on the over route. Then I have a mark where someone slipped. Chiefs second drive. Fake the over. Hit them with the sail route to Kelsey. 3 catches, 60 yards, 1 TD in the first quarter. TJ slipped, Reddick slipped. I go back to these ballsy moments for the Eagles offense. 4th and 5, they go for it. They did a Hurts QB run, and then there was a 4th and 2. I mean, 12 plays, 75 yards, 7 minutes and 19 seconds. Instead of talking about Gannon, talk about Steichen. What he did in that first half was a complete, exactly what we talked about on the last episode on how to beat Mahomes and allowing him to be off on the sidelines. You talk about they had the ball for 8 minutes and 6 seconds. I mean, the rest of it was the Eagles, 21 minutes and 54 seconds, bro. In the first half, that was the perfect first half.
This is the funniest thing too. It goes back to the officiating when we were about to line up to do the quarterback sneak, and they called false start on Sam Matlu. You never fucking move. They just start pointing. The defense just start pointing, and I'm in the stadium. I'm like, what the hell? And then so I looked down at I had my phone there too. So I looked down at my phone, and I was like, nobody moved. Nobody on our offensive line moved, and they gave us a 5-yard penalty. That's how bad it was. And that's what I was cracking up, because I know a bunch of people who say all this shit is scripted. They make who they want to win. This is why everybody thinks that, because of shit like this. I still think that if we had did anything remotely good defensively, then we would still be celebrating.
What's that?
I say if we had did anything good defensively, we would be celebrating instead of sitting there sulking.
I mean, you're talking about just one stop in halftime. I think if Rihanna was defensive coordinator, she would have got one stop. She would have stopped that offense somehow, some way.
I can tell you one thing: nobody was stopping Jonathan Gannon from getting on a plane to Arizona.
We left him there. No, we left him there.
Yeah.
I don't think he came back.
It's a weird scene.
That's true. He was already out there. That's true.
Yeah. It's definitely a weird scene. You want to pick up the pieces as a fan, but if you're analyzing the game, you're looking where our weaknesses and strengths are. There's going to be a lot of movement. There's going to be a lot of guys that you've tied your fandom to, like a Fletcher Cox. I mean, most importantly, a Kelsey, a Brandon Graham. Like what these 3 guys have meant to this team over the last decade, and who are the new pieces, or who are the guys that are staying. and that whole theory of the Phillies are holding on to players that are getting old and long in the tooth. Like, who do you bring back without getting too nostalgic about what they mean to you personally, but also what makes sense? And now it's a time for Howie to make his money, and who to bring back. The whole thing with Kelsey now. Do you think Kelsey retires?
I don't know. It was one of those nostalgic moments where it was like one or two things. I didn't know if he was just standing out there basking in the glory of his brother and being happy for his brother, or was he just standing out there soaking it up? Soaking it up because it was his last time on the field and he didn't want to take off his uniform. So it's kind of a sketchy moment. But I think, but if he's the competitor that I think he is, I think he's coming back. I think he at least wants to get one with the kid. And it's like when you have these moments are not put in everybody's life where you have this type of opportunity and the legacy in what you built, and you're already in great shape, and they take care of you. And
I mean, I keep on seeing the list of all the guys that are on this Eagles set for Eagles free
Right.
agency.
You want to read that off?
Yeah, I'll read it off right now. We got Fletcher Cox,
Right.
Robert Quinn, Brandon Graham, Javon Hargrave, Jason Kelsey, James Bradbury, Isaac Sayamalu, Andre Dillard, Kazir White, TJ Edwards, Ndamukong Suh, Linvale Joseph, Boston Scott, Zach Pascal, Miles Sanders, Rick Lovato, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Tyree Jackson, Gardner Minshew, Marcus Epps. Listen, it's a long list of guys.
Yeah.
But a lot of these guys are old and are on the brink of retirement. A lot of these guys, can we be realistic, aren't game changers, man. Like,
No.
are we going to lose sleep over a Zach Pascal leaving the team? Or, a Robert Quinn who is washed up at this point? I mean, Tyree Jackson, that's just a story that never evolved.
But the one thing that I don't like, I don't like to do that to talk about who's washed up and who's blah blah blah. But I know who we should keep. I know we should keep CJ. I know we should try to get Hargrave, and I think we should try to keep Sayamalu if we're not going to upgrade from that position. Or if we're not going to keep Sayamalu, they're going to have to kick the beef jerky over there, Jerkins over there until I hope that Kelsey comes back.
To be honest,
you're right. You're right. You work with the youth first,
yeah,
and then if you can get the old guys later on, because it's cool, but you're not what's called. It's cool. You're not overly like longing to keep them here. They were a good piece of the puzzle on this run, but you do have to replace kind of like it's a bit of the personality, a bit of of what you built. Everybody else call it culture. I call it what you built as a team, as a nucleus, your identity. So you want to bring guys, like-minded guys like that in there, because the good mix of young and old is it will always work better than just all young. Because all young is like sometimes you make those hot-head decisions and stuff. You're not able to keep your composure. But when you do, those guys, they're not going to. The guys that you're speaking of who are long in the tooth, they're not going to be the ones that count really against the salary cap. We got to look at the young guys who we feel are the biggest parts of this squad and bring them back. Now, who do you think that is?
Well, I'm sitting here thinking that considering the fact that we have Nakobe Dean just waiting in the wing, I don't think that there's any way that we bring Kazir White and TJ Edwards back. I think one of those guys, he's going to be end up gone.
Yeah.
Like you said, Jurgens waiting in the wing for Kelsey, but I think that Kelsey holds enough status on this team and in the city that if he says he wants to come back, they'll find a way.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I mean, I look at guys like Suh and Joseph, and I just view their value over a guy like Cox right now. If I'm being honest, if you're looking at numbers wise,
yeah. And you're correct in that sense, because even though they're a little longer in the tooth, they bring that attitude to a young defensive line. Like we coming to work, we coming to kick ass. Like Fletcher, Fletcher's still a little young, and I still think sometimes he disappears and stuff, and takes some time off. but the two guys you spoke of, they'll be there for the taking, and they'll be there for a little bit of nothing. But we also have to make sure that we bring Hargrave back.
I mean,
And,
just looking at this list of guys that
Hargrave,
personally
yeah,
I think are gone. I think Fletch, Robert Quinn,
yeah.
Bradbury, possibly Sayamalu, definitely Andre Dillard, either White or Edwards. Boston Scott potentially.
I think I might even bring Boston Scott back cheap and then go get somebody in the draft.
Yeah, because it's like
Chauncey's got to be a guy that's one targets. He just has to be.
So top five, your top five free agent keeper. I think I can agree with. I think everyone can agree with Chauncey. I think there's a level of his play that you don't see or haven't seen in some safeties in the past. I mean, obviously Malcolm Jenkins has been amazing, but just think about the safeties that have played in Philadelphia over besides a Dawkins type. But he brings an element to his game, whether it's a vibe to him that you know that he's a little crazy when in the right type of crazy that you like in Philadelphia. I think he's a guy that I've wanted ever since he was on the Florida campus. The fact that we got him, I can't even believe we got him for what we got him. I do think he's a tone setter.
I think if I'm picking five here, I'm looking at Kelsey, Gardner Johnson, probably like you said, Boston Scott. I'm going TJ Edwards personally over Kazir White.
Oh yeah,
TJ man. Whew.
And probably Hargrave. I got to go Hargrave.
Now see, I got to go Hargrave, CJ, and I kind of got to go Kazir White over TJ because TJ and the Kobe Dean play the same position.
Yeah, Kazir.
And Kazir White is that guy who covers well. It's like, and he covers well, and he's from here, and so it's not going to be the same amount that you give TJ. As much as I love TJ, he's standing in the way of a young stallion.
I mean, Kelsey kind of had his way in that game. Kelsey kind of had his way.
On TJ, I was on TJ Edwards, dude. It was one play. I don't know what the fuck TJ was doing one play, and Kelsey's coming up, and he's been in the end route. What the hell are you still standing still for? That's your zone. Roll with him.
He slipped. He was slipping his ass off too. But
Trayvon goes, where did Davion Taylor go, dude? I forgot he was even on the team.
Practice squad.
Is he on the team?
Was he practice squad?
Probably on practice squad.
Yeah.
No, I just think it's I'll go. My thing with TJ
made All Pro this year, bro.
Who that? Oh, TJ Edwards.
Yeah.
Well, my thing with TJ, I'm just saying, like, as much as I just at the end of I would like a little bit more athleticism.
Yeah,
that's young athleticism.
Well, that's why I said Kazir White, because TJ Edwards is going to be a free agent, and guess who just went to Arizona?
Gannon.
Yeah. So some of these guys are probably going to get poached by Arizona because you like to keep your guys with you.
Was there a team that forfeited a first round pick? Because I saw today that there's only 31 picks. Somebody who was that? What team was it?
That?
The Browns?
It may have been. It's somebody for tampering.
Okay.
It's a team that I can't remember the team, but I just saw the story.
I saw only 31 picks in the first round. I'm like, who the hell?
Yeah, somebody forfeited their first round pick. Yeah. I forget who it was.
Miami. It was Miami. Okay.
Yes, that's what. Yeah.
Yeah. Daniel had a question. Says one thing I don't like is coaches interviewing during the playoffs. That should be all done once the season is officially over.
I agree with that. That's mad weird. You're getting ready for a Super Bowl, and listen, you got to look out for yourself. I get it from that aspect, but from just, I want them to be completely focused in. So they're acting as if we don't have enough time in the offseason to handle these things.
They start doing it because the one thing that losing teams want is for their new coach to get started, and you got to give the other guys a good opportunity.
Those losing teams should wait for the winners.
Well, yeah, you could do that. I was like, but if you see if somebody comes in and wows you before the winners get finished, it's not fair to the people who win it too. If you don't even give them a chance to interview, so it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird as fuck. But And it's the same thing equates like when we watch the college sports and the head coach has made concessions to move up to a better job, but then they want you to play in the game and ruin your NFL status when we just playing in Chauncey A&I Bowl. Oh, you should play. Get the fuck out of my face, Jake Driscoll.
Yeah. Some people have been talking about that 10th pick. I'm looking heavy at the corners right now.
Yeah, the kid out of Illinois.
Yeah, that's the guy that I've been mentioning, Witherspoon. Check him out. Check him out. If you guys in the chat, if you're looking for a guy to check out a dude.
We're talking fucking draft, bro. I hate it.
Hey, that's the only way you're gonna get over. Get over. I'm not gonna get over it. I'm just saying I need to. I was watching Witherspoon.
There's only one way to get over it.
Jawn says, "How about Lane and his injury? Obviously, he got it. He gutted it out, man. He's going to get surgery very soon." Talk about Chris Maragos getting $43 million.
I thought it was like 70.
Was it 70? I thought it was 43.
49.3. 49.3.
It was his bag.
Yeah. Well, they fucked his knee up, dude. That was like when I seen him and I saw his knee after and he was going for low, so I was like, damn. Because it looks like if you watch him walk, it looks like one leg is short longer than the other. It's real bad, dude.
I got that.
Philly Sports. Shout out to Philly Sports guy. To Tank, does Cox become one of the guys who waits till week 10 to join a Super Bowl contender, similar to Sue?
Well, you know what? I heard he wanted to play for Big Red, so I can see him going to the Chiefs. He wanted to play. He said he wanted to play one last year for Big Red, so I can see him migrating over to the Chiefs to be on their squad to add depth to their offense or to their defensive line. That's why I say when we're talking about the guys who are leaving and staying, I feel like we could pick up not wait till week 10, but wait till like we need them. We have LeVar Joseph and Ndamukong Suh on call, or they go through training camp and stuff. But we do need some veteran leadership to stay within that room, and especially Brandon Graham's in there. So it's gonna be interesting to see who and what we keep. But I know if it's me, CJ is number one. I'm sorry.
No,
CJ's in Hargrave.
And Bradbury honestly was one of those guys too. But now that you just look at the money aspect and you look at the fact that I think the dude already knows that we're not going to be able to reach his number. So I mean, I think
we will be able to. See, this is the thing too, and with the magic of the guy we call Howie, like we could get the guys the money that they want. But you have to be worth it though, and I feel like a couple of these guys are worth it. Like Barnett better go. Oh God, we can't get right. But it's like, it's like you gotta like be able. You gotta want to leave some in the pot so we could be good, continue to be good, so we can come back and fuck everybody up again.
So I know that a lot of people are of the mindset that we got to go cornerback. Just play devil with the 10th pick overall. Just play devil's advocate. Mm-hmm. What about an offensive tackle? I mean, you got to start thinking beyond Lane Johnson too at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's guys like Peter Skoronski from Northwestern. If you're looking at some guys with offensive tackle guard versatility, someone who you could potentially be a backup,
like a Jake Driscoll.
kind of like
that.
We'll see.
We'll see.
This guy's at the dinner tables tweeting at the show right now. You believe this?
Do you want to? The one shot of the one thing too is that we have 2 first-round picks. So if we I think we get like the best available guy. Like we can get that corner to everybody that cover the corner, so we don't have to pay Bradbury that type of money. And you get, you can migrate that kid in. Mm-hmm. I think you get that corner if he's there. But if number 88 from Georgia is there, you damn sure get him. That there's a man.
You guys
play inside and outside.
You guys think? I think BG comes back.
I think he comes back too.
I've been believing that for a while.
I asked him last year at the camp, and I said, I was like, bro, you got one more year in there? He's like,
he was like 15 years total. This was
I was like, you come back to the Eagles, right? You come back to the Eagles, right? He said, yep. We'll see.
He'll work it out.
Yeah, I
like,
mean,
and it's not about staying for less. It's like his salary cap number probably won't be what it was at first, but then his role will be not so much diminished. But you have him in there playing less plays. But it's like as an older guy, you start knowing your role, and you just be prepared when it's time for you to seize the second and go out there and kick somebody's ass. And I think that's the role that he's gone into. But I think he's still young enough to be able to play an entire game if need be. You know what I mean? If we go down some guys, he's still good enough to start and all that. What do I mean good enough to start? He had more than 10 sacks. Shit,
At 11,
yeah. It was like the one thing that and I'm going to be pissed at him forever for this, Jonathan Gannon, for not deploying our guys and giving them an optimal chance to win. And I was sad as fuck about that's the main thing I was sad about. It's the Super Bowl, dude. What the fuck are you waiting on? The fuck are you waiting on? You didn't even put any pressure on this man. I was like, yes, I know he's the MVP, but we're in the Super Bowl. What are we waiting on? It's like, come on, he's back there ailing. So
now my guy is talking crazy right now. Trade the 10th for Jalen Ramsey. Wishful thinking.
yeah, I don't want Jalen Ramsey.
I'm not trading the 10th.
When we say mercenary, we're not talking about a motherfucker that's in a contract somewhere and just trying to fucking jump ship. We're talking about a guy who's not under contract and is still good, but wants to come play for us. And we're going to get him for the low because he wants to come and show us where. So he helps us out and we help him out. Not that bullshit where we get a problem from another fucking team and get rid of some picks and shit. Fuck that.
We got some love for Paris Johnson in the building from Ohio State. Also another guy, 6'7", 308. I mean, he's the dude that getting some love in the chat. Shout out to Carmen as well.
Young Vincent plays D tackle too. Troy Vincent's son.
Patrick Peterson, Jalen Ramsey. I'm seeing a lot of people just throwing names. Like I'm not saying.
Thank you. Say it again.
People are just saying you have to understand that you need the way that you build a winning team is through the draft, like how we've been doing, and with young players, guys that are at one point were the top of their game. They're not anymore, and they're not going to help you win a Super Bowl, which is the ultimate goal here. So I'm of the belief that you got to go younger, and you got to win off of lesser contracts.
Now Daniel from Swedentown says draft in 72 days. Next 4th and Jawn, and we're gonna figure it out. We are, working on some things on the back end for potential shows, but we'll stay tuned. It'll be interesting.
Keep you updated.
It'll be interesting. But definitely got some things worked out in the plans. Man, I'm telling you, man. What a great season. It's just someone was like, could you describe how you're feeling in one sentence? I said, okay. Imagine like the dopest of dope sentences you're putting together, the beautiful sentence structure, but you don't put on the period. You leave. That's what it feels like. You did not put a period at the end of the sentence or exclamation mark.
You want to know why?
I just feel robbed.
You want to know why? Because the shit this season is over, but the shit ain't over. We have a young nucleus. We have a good young team, and the thing is, it's like we want the best for these guys because of the way they come out and perform and work for us. The thing I think, and I don't know if you guys thought about this, but him losing that game and the way he walked off that field, I'm waiting to see what the kid comes out to do next year. Talking about Jalen, and given this offensive line the way that they block and the way they love him and the way they follow the leader and AJ Brown and the Slim Reaper and Dallas. Nobody's mentioned Dallas Goedert. He was a motherfucker in that game. Dude, I can't wait to see what this young team puts together. How they come out next year, because a lot of people they're gonna be like the Super Bowl hangover. I think they're gonna come out roaring. It's like because I think I know that they can't think like I'm thinking, because I feel like we got robbed, and I was like, I only feel like we got robbed for the last minute or so. We didn't get an opportunity to make this right or just plainly lose under our own power. I was like, when somebody says the officials are not supposed to affect the game, this is what they mean. You don't call the game one way the entire time and pick and choose when you want to make a call. That's not how the game is supposed to work by any stretch of the means. You're supposed to be the one fair and convenient thing that we don't have to worry about, and you pull this shit, and the NFL is going to back you. Nobody that's still in the NFL can say anything about it. But I am saying something about it. It was fucked up. Whether you're on either side of the coin, that was fucked up. To let the game go on like that and to let it end like that was worse than last year. Last year, they're talking about the Bills not having an opportunity. They had an opportunity. Time just ran out. The officials stopped this one.
You know how I feel is I feel like the Jim Kelly Bills. That's how I feel because
Ooh. No, they didn't win.
We sat here, and I'm gonna
Jim Kelly Bills.
I'm gonna stretch it here. I'm gonna stretch it.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you go.
A few months ago, we had that World Series loss. I'm gonna add in that Union Championship just for emphasis. That's two. We just lost the Super Bowl, and now in June, I have no confidence in this Sixers team closing it out. So that would be, in my opinion, 4 straight losses all in 1 year in championship hopeful teams. So yeah, I'm feeling like the Jim Kelly Bills right now.
No, Ev. So when you said that, guess who's been at each loss?
You?
No,
You?
Philly Sports Trips. Vince has been at each loss. The Union loss.
Hey,
And
Vince,
and
stay your ass at home, okay?
The Union loss, then the World Series loss, and now this one.
Well, I mean, while we're at it, I mean, shout out to the Philly Sports Trips. If you want to take a trip, they got a lot of trips planned. They talk about going to Sixers games. You talk about going to spring training. Are you going? I know you're.
I'm gonna pick one. I'm gonna pick one of the weekends to go down there for spring training.
That'd be. You know what? I might actually. I might think about doing that. I might think about
hibernate until August.
And shout out to my boy Andrew from base training, and my other boy Andrew from Philly Sports Shirts from a damn Skippy attire.
That one feels like a trademark infringement.
What damn Skippy? Oh yeah, it does. But that's why they probably work hand in hand. But because Vincent did introduce me to him. But in any event, when you look at it, the one thing I think a lot of people had we showed up in masses down there, and dude, it was an epic time. I just didn't like the outcome. It wasn't what we wanted it to be, but it was like that was the funnest stuff I've ever had with all the Philly fans together. All the Eagles fans together, assembled on one place, and when they introduced. Now I know you guys heard it on TV when they introduced Dak Prescott. I happened to be looking for my beer, and all I heard was boo. I was like, oh God. It was the loudest. They could have heard us from 20 miles away, dude. It was loud as hell. I was cracking up. But that's what I love about my people. I know a lot of us taking it hard. I kind of didn't think you guys were gonna be able to do the show today because I've been talking to other people and they're taking it hard, and that's how it is. And it's hard. I think the roughest part of it is still the way the referee took it from us. Nobody. It's like we could talk all day about we had other chances throughout the game. I was like, but throughout the game, you got to realize we make plays, they make plays. We make plays, they make plays. You notice there's not an official in there. I never started stopping for an official. We make plays, they make plays. We make plays, they make plays. We make plays, they make plays. Then the official made a play. The game was over.
There was just moments in that game where like I'm trying to keep my composure, like because sometimes I'll see other people,
right,
and they're like getting out of hand, where I'm trying to like stay focused, and I'm trying to think like, you play football, you be like 4 quarters, like you got to like my mentality's there, but some people are like game's over, right. And I'm just like I need to like watch the game, and then if something goes wrong, I'm like then you start going into your Eagles crazy fandom shit, like everything happened when I was watching this TV. I'm staying here until and something bad happens, then I move somewhere else. So I started moving around. But then
I gotta pee.
this guy in his urination, shout out to the toilet. But Ev, I mean, at the end of the day, man, we threw a good party. It's
Yeah, it
good
was
to
a great
see.
time.
Good to see your family. I was like, yo,
Likewise.
the whole lineage is there. You know, all their loved ones were there. I
My
thought it was.
grandparents made it down. My uncle was there as well. My parents, my sister, her boyfriend. It was great to have the whole family there.
Yeah. I'm just bummed that the season is over. But before we get out of here, I just want to give a shout out to Conchi Italian Bakery for supporting us for the tailgates. Shout out to Bud Light. Bud Light has been holding us down at these tailgates for years. We appreciate them more than ever. It's always a good time. Next tailgate, it's going to be a minute. Probably an open practice, maybe.
Sometime in August.
This guy's over here known for his doing his business. So before we get out of here, man, you're
I was drinking a little tequila to ease the pains.
So why don't we give you your last word before we get out of here?
My last word is still up there. Wow. My last word is we're gonna continue this ride, man, until we get us a title. Keep your head up, everybody. I hate to see you like that, man. It's fucked up.
I appreciate it.
I'm serious.
I'm working my way through it. I'm trying not to be such a sulky bitch right now, but it's
hard. It's so hard. And then when random people call, that's why. Well, I guess that's why I'm a motherfucker. Because if you come at me, I'm coming for your neck right away.
Dude, that's the thing is that I got friends that one that's a Packers fan, the other is a Patriots fan, and they could not wait to talk to me. I'm like, where did your guys' teams finish, bro? Like, what the fuck are we talking about?
Yeah. So my one thing is we had a great ride this year, and I don't have nothing to hang my head for. I'm still proud of the guys. The other thing is I'm happy we got rid of Jonathan Gannon. Hopefully, get somebody in here who will use all these guys to the best of their ability.
I'm glad I don't have to defend him anymore.
I know, and and this is fucked up too. And so as things are unfolding, all I can hear is you was like, that motherfucker. This motherfucker. it's like, and you knew then but you know, it's like it's just like one of those things where you know how much it pains everybody because how much we as a city, we as Eagles, so not just as a city, but we as Eagles fans, Philadelphia Eagles fans, we as Birds fans, it's like we feel the pain. So it's like I didn't know I was gonna take it like this. I've been somber since like that Sunday. It's like man, it's like because nothing feels good, nothing tastes good, you know.
Yeah.
Well, this tequila does taste good, but but you know, my last word is still fly, Eagles fly, go Birds.
Yeah, no, it's hard not to be proud about what the Eagles did this year, man. They were a great squad. It was an awesome team to watch all year long. My last word essentially would just be, thank you to the guys that have been. I don't know who's going to come back and who's not of this Eagles team. You know, I got a lot of favorites that are on this squad right now, all-time Eagle favorites of mine, and whether they end up retiring, whether they end up going somewhere else. Thank you for everything you've given, I guess.
To follow Ev, last word is again, you diehards out here, I would appreciate you tuning in, always supporting, always coming out to events. Sometimes we report on the X's and O's. Sometimes we talk about the love that we have for this game that transcends the football field. It's a family thing. Getting together, meeting a lot of you guys on the road. I met, I was eating my breakfast at the Reading terminal, and I was in a mood. I was just not feeling great, and a random Eagle fan who's fan of the show was like eating his breakfast, and he came up and said what's up, and we had a conversation. But it brought me back to he said keep your head up, again, I take it personal with these Birds, but at the end of the day, it's a great fan base. This is to do this. What we do is a great time. And it's awesome to share it with you guys. And it's not finished. The job's not finished. We'll be going into off season with more shows, and we look forward to breaking bread with y'all, talking birds as we always do.
Go Birds.
As always, go birds and fly, Eagles.
Go birds,
fly.
fly, go fly.